Hello, Algebra 1 students, and welcome to our third lesson here in Chapter 4. Today what we're going to be doing is talking about writing functions. So how do I take parts of a function and create an equation, as well as take it in word form, or kind of evaluate some of these equations as well. So I took this image because it's showing me kind of an example of what is called function notation. So sometimes when we write these out, this is kind of how it would look. We're going to start off with a little simpler version first, and then we will move into something kind of like this. So our objective for today is I can identify independent and dependent variables. I can write an equation in function notation. So that's kind of what I was showing here. This is what is function notation. And evaluate a function for given input values. So this first part is kind of a key idea to get our brain thinking about this first example. So it says, suppose Tasha babysits and charges $5 per hour. This seems very low compared to the rates now. I think it's just because the textbook's a little old. So they show a table of how much you'd get for each hour. It says the amount of money Tasha earns is 5 times the number of hours she works. And we kind of started talking about this when we were in inequalities, about writing these kind of inequalities, and now we're going to be talking about writing equations. So it says write an equation using 2 different variables to show this relationship. So typically when we start these off, we have x and y because we are talking about x and y. We're talking about our coordinate plane still. So what she's showing is that the y is showing the amount she she earns. So 5 here, at least if you're looking at 1, 5. Equals then 5 is what she charges every hour, and so we're going to multiply it then by the number of hours she worked. So to figure out how much she actually earns, I take the 5 times the amount of hours to get that. Tasha can use this equation to find how much money she will earn for any number of hours she worked. So let's take a look at another example with a table, and we're going to come up with an equation. So it says determine a relationship between x and y values. Write an equation. So we usually write them in the form of y equals something. So something's going to probably happen to x. So I could have an x. I don't know if something's being multiplied or added or subtracted to this x though. So we're going to take a look, and a lot of this ends up being just kind of guessing, seeing what is the pattern that's happening. So I could maybe start with 1. If I plugged 1 in, what would happen for me? What would I have to do to that 1 to make it to a -2? Well, maybe I'm going to multiply it by a -2. Okay, that could work, but let's see if it works for the next one. 2 times -2, well, that would give me -4. So that doesn't work with this point, and we have to make sure that it works for everything. So maybe multiplication doesn't work. What if I do like adding or subtracting? Or maybe a divide. I can't divide because I'd get weird fractions. So add or subtract. So if I had 1, I'd have to subtract to get to a negative. So I could subtract 3. Does that work for this? 2 minus 3? Yeah. 3 minus 3? Yeah. So my equation would actually be y equals x minus 3. And that's how I would show that representation for this table. So a lot of it's kind of trial and error. I'd start by looking at multiplication and or division. If those don't work, switch to thinking about addition or subtraction, and just make sure that it works for all of those points within that table. Oh, okay, I remember that this one didn't show up very well, so I'm going to read it a little bit better. So it says the input of a function is considered your independent variable. So input is independent, and I'm going to abbreviate it. The output of a function is your dependent. So output. I would suggest writing these down. dependent variable. Remember, we talked about input and output. Input is usually your x, output's usually your y. Same thing as domain, as range. Again, we just have lots of different verbiage for that. So then it continues on. It says the value of the dependent variable depends on or is a function of the value of the independent variable. So they're going back to thinking about that example with Tasha and babysitting. It says for Tasha, the amount she can earns depends on or is a function of the amount of time she works. So her independent variable would be how much she's charging. The output is how many hours she works. So we're going to take a look at some other examples and decide my independent variable as well as my dependent variable. So it says identify the independent and dependent variable in each situation. So I'm going to take a look by reading each one, and then I'm going to label independent and dependent. So it says in the winter, more electricity is used when the temperature goes down, and less is used when the temperature rises. So what's going to happen is that I want to think about what is happening that I cannot control. That is, for the most part, my independent variable. Or what is the thing that does not matter what's happening. And so based on this, if I read it again, in winter more electricity is used when the temperature goes down and less is used when the temperature rises. So my independent variable in this case is the temperature. I can't control the temperature outside. I control it inside, but that's it's gonna do what it wants. So the dependent then would be the amount of electricity being used. Or see the amount of electricity being used. So let's take a next look at the next one. It says the cost of shipping a package is based on its weight. And I like this one a little more because I think it's a little more clear. So independent is going to be the thing that I cannot change. Or the thing that's already going to be, you get to this point, you're at the post office and, here's what's happened. So the independent variable in this case is going to be my weight. I could change it, but if I've already packaged up the box and I bring it to the post office and they weigh it, that's going to be my independent variable. The thing that depends on the weight or changes because of this weight is going to be the cost of it. The cost depends on how much the weight is. All right, and one more here. So it says, the faster Ron walks, the quicker he gets home. So if I want to think about this, usually we think about what's kind of happening first to have the next thing happen. That's another way to identify independent versus dependent. In this case, your independent is how fast he's running. So, or walks, sorry. So his speed, I would say. How fast is Ron walking? And then that's going to help determine how quick he gets home. So how fast can he get home? Well, that depends on how fast does he walk. So that's why it's my dependent, because it depends on the independent. Alrighty, so the next part here is talking again back to our function notation. So it says an algebraic expression that defines a function is a function rule. 5 times x in the equation about Tasha's earning is a function rule. If x is the independent variable and y is the dependent variable, the function notation of y is now f of x. So we talked a lot about doing, okay, y equals this, but we can also just change y to f of x, and that's how you read it. Where f names the function, when an equation is two variables describes a function, you can use function notation. So this is another kind of way that we represent this, especially as you continue on in math. A lot of our functions will be written as this. Sometimes they're f of x, sometimes they're g of x, sometimes they're h of t. It depends on what variables are being used. So in this case, the dependent variable is a function of the independent variable. So just as y is a function of x, so we can then, all we do that's different is you change y to f of x. Since f of x, Tasha's earning y equals 5x, can be written in function notation by substituting f of x for y equals f of x, y is f of x equals 5x. Sometimes function notations are written using y, and sometimes function notations are used writing that f of x. So they're interchangeable. So sometimes they might say write it with that form, and sometimes it doesn't matter if it's y or f of x. So let's take a look at these two problems, and we are going to solve them out. So it looks like I am identifying what is the independent and dependent variables, and then I need to write an equation in a function notation. So because it says in a function notation, I am going to write it as that f of x. So let's start by identifying our independent and our dependent variables. So it says a lawyer charges $200 per hour for consultation. So what's going to happen is my independent variable, my independent variable is how much she charges. So that $200. And my dependent variable is the number, and I'm just going to use the hashtag number of hours. So how many hours are they doing? So if I want to create an equation for this, instead of y, I'm going to put f of x. And then I'm going to think, okay, so we have a variable x. What's going to show me that they're charging $20 per hour? Because my dependent variable is my x. That seems weird. Now maybe I will check. That's what they said, right? Yep, or my output's my dependent variable. Okay, I'm realizing I made a slight mistake here. What my independent variable should actually be is the number of hours. And this can get tricky. I understand these independent and dependent are tricky. The dependent is the actual amount of money it costs, like total amount of money. Total dollars. So my x is the number of hours. How am I going to show what the total amount is? In this case, because they're charging $200 per hour, this would show me a multiplication of 200x, or 200 times x. Alrighty, next one. The administration fee at a local carnival is $8. And then each ride costs $1.50. Could you imagine going to a carnival and they tell you that it costs you $150 to go on one ride? So my independent variable is going to be then the amount of hours, the amount of rides that I do. And my dependent then is going to be my total cost. Another way to think about it is remember that your independent is your input, your dependent is your output. So if I'm going to write an equation of this, I have something happening to x. X is my number of rides. So how am I going to show how many rides I did? Well, I'm going to multiply it by the cost it did. And then I have one additional cost, so I'm going to add it, and 8. So there's another part of this video. Hopefully we can get to it in class. See ya!